How the news and media industry can recover from a tarnished image. I'm Zach Young, along with Brandon Shapiro and Piotr Zach. What exactly tarnishes the news and media industry? First, the spread of fake news. This term was popularized by Donald Trump regarding the truthfulness of the coverage of himself by the media during and after his election. This term has come to mean misinformation spread by the mainstream media. The spread of false information can lead to the discrediting of many media companies and their downfall. Secondly, the actions of public figures. Behind-the-scenes actions within businesses is one example of this. This includes sexual assault as well as many other disgraceful behaviors. These incidents can hurt the industry's reputation and can lead to a decline in its profitability. Lastly, prejudice comments. Examples include racism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. Prejudice comments are said in order to isolate and alienate a possible audience. They can cause hate from a group of individuals towards specific networks. Common steps of recovery of a tarnished image include listening, establishing transparency, and taking disciplinary action. Step 1 is listening to criticism and feedback relating to the incident. Before the problem is assessed with by the company heads, the industry will establish any negative opinions or criticism directed towards them. Understanding their mistakes is very important if they want to deal with the situation effectively. The company should begin by determining the specific action that caused the mistake. Then they should reassess their rationale and dissect the various insights received from the public. Key aspects of understanding a mistake are owning up to it, reflecting, and identifying the skills and resources it takes to correct it. The second step of recovery of a tarnished image includes establishing transparency about what occurred and apologizing. Based off of what people say, their response and apology will correspond with what the public wants to hear. When forming this apology or any other plan of action, it is important for the company to be transparent with the public and keep them updated in order to prevent further loss of trust and credibility. It is also essential that the company does not simply apologize and move on, as this puts them at risk for repeating the same mistakes or not earning back the confidence of the public. This brings us to the last step of recovery, taking disciplinary action on those responsible. The company must take the appropriate steps to correct their image. This includes taking disciplinary action on those responsible, making changes to their staff, or changing their internal policies to prevent more errors or faults from happening. Even when doing this, the company must maintain honesty with the public and follow these steps in order to make sure to never make the same mistake again.
One key example of this is Brian Williams. Brian is an American journalist at NBC News. On several occasions throughout his career, he explained that on a trip to Iraq, the helicopter took fire from a rocket-propelled grenade and was forced to make an emergency landing. To quote Williams, "The story actually started with a terrible moment a dozen years back during the invasion of Iraq, when the helicopter we were traveling in was forced down after being hit with an RPG. Later that year, it came out that this was not the case. In fact, Williams had arrived an hour after the helicopter that had come under fire. This put NBC in a very difficult situation where they had to save possibly the most important thing a media can get: credibility and trust of viewers." As expected, the internet responded violently to the news of Williams' dishonesty. As journalist Chris Cuomo put it, he knew they were going to eat him alive. Much of the criticism was coming from veterans and current soldiers serving in the U.S. military who felt deeply offended by the dishonesty displayed by Williams. For example, this Facebook comment on screen is from Lance Reynolds, who had been in the aircraft that had taken fire. In this post, he explains the true story and how Williams had not actually been present. In addition, several soldiers who had been with Williams on a trip, such as veteran Joe Smerlin, contacted the media and explained how they had been furious when they had originally heard Williams' story. NBC made an effort to listen to this criticism and use this feedback to formulate a response that would mitigate the damage.
When the news came out that he had lied to the public, NBC convinced Williams to publicly apologize. In his apology, he could not bring himself to say the words, "I lied." He fabricated excuses and suggested that he may have been victim of a brain tumor. When his half-hearted apology came out, it was not well received by viewers and was very ineffective at mitigating damage. It even led to a hashtag Brian Williams misremembers, which users would use to ridicule him. This led NBC to put out a statement that after extensive review, found that Williams made a number of inaccurate statements about his own role and experiences covering events in the field. This established transparency and helped ease the anger of the public. After further investigation and an internal debate within NBC, it was determined that Brian Williams misrepresented the events that truly transpired in Iraq in 2003. This was compelled NBC to take action and suspend Williams for 6 months without pay. This was followed by multiple statements by NBC addressing the punishment and his actions, claiming his actions were unprofessional and inappropriate, and stating that the punishment was severe. NBC is currently one of the most trusted news sources in America due to their efforts in managing problems such as the story of Brian Williams, according to a survey done by Business Insider. In sum, a tarnished image can be repaired through the actions we described to you in our presentation, which were gathering information, establishing transparency, and displaying discipline.
Thank you for listening and have a nice day.